that was a hell of a intro.
Sorry, alright. That's alright. Y'all take care. I didn't even need to say anything.
Nothing like hey. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, anyways, so what's up, y'all? What's going on? What y'all doing? All the above. It is a blessed day, as always. We're not even going to say what day of the week it is. We're not going to say what time it is. We're not going to say where we are. Because Austin won.
It's not your business.
Didn't you have it right last time?
I did, but I don't remember how I did that. I'm not gonna lie.
Just imagine that there's a nice rhyme. Dropping dimes plus 99.
Ooh.
Anyways, what's today's topic, my friend?
Today's topic is knowing when to give a fuck and when not to.
Austin's favorite topic.
This has been a big thing for me in life over the last couple of years, and I've been trying to get him to adopt this same mindset because he's very much, he'll dedicate all of his energy into something or into one particular thing, and sometimes I feel like that's not even necessary. So I think that's a good thing for your personal life, for your mental health, for business as well, because there's certain things that you're going to come across that may not need all of your attention, may not need all of your energy, may not need all of your effort to go into it. Of course, there's going to be some things where you are going to have to put in that effort and are going to have to put in that time, but there's certain things that are worth it. And if you focus those things or your time on those things that aren't worth it, you're taking away time from being productive and focusing on things that are. So knowing when not to give a fuck and when to give a fuck can turn your business into being either successful or subpar. So, and not even just business, but life into being successful or subpar, happy or unhappy. So that, my friend, is today's podcast. I think that was a hell of an intro.
Sorry, alright. That's alright. Y'all take care. I didn't even need to say anything.
Nothing like hey. Yeah, we're getting better at this thing, man. I tell you what. Ain't that right, Alice?
Well, to piggyback off of the last podcast, we are socially.
Please don't say that.
I think that was not the last podcast.
No, it was.
I think that was, what are we on?
Episode
Podcast 10? So, yeah, episode 8. But if you are diligent, you will know exactly what we're talking about in terms of socially fill in the blank.
And if you don't know what we're talking about, then go back and watch our fucking episodes, you asshole.
And people say I'm the aggressive one.
No, I never said I was an asshole. I said that you are one. I just, I didn't talk about myself.
So you're like a sometimes asshole. I'm like 24/7.
I'm really a nice guy. It's just, certain tones.
Right.
It's just,
nice guy.
It's just, y'all get under my skin. It's like, okay, don't ask me what we're talking about. Go watch the videos, man.
What? Your point makes no sense.
Okay, see? Hey, if you're watching, you round them up.
You riled me up.
You got them riled up.
And I appreciate that. Listen, challenge accepted. You claim that the point is not direct, so I will break it down in a way that is more easily understandable. And that I'm okay with, because then that means that my understanding has to be more thorough. See, that's called being flexible, which we've talked about, and learning how to pivot,
right?
Which we've also talked about.
Exactly.
So if you're following along, you notice that we don't just practice what we preach, but we preach what we practice. Bars, as Austin likes to say.
Killing it.
That's how it goes, bro. But interestingly enough, and this is a very common trait of mine, you will run through your bandwidth if you try to do everything.
For those that may not know what's
bandwidth is essentially how many things you can handle at once. So, and this is a very common thing, especially in today's day and age with technology and social media and the fast-paced life that we live. It's very easy to overload your bandwidth. So a lot of times people become Debbie Downers. We'll say, we won't touch on depression or things like that, but basically you feel kind of sluggish, tired, the life itself is in black and white, everything's gray, And that's a literal thing. If you haven't lived it, well, then good for you. If you have, then we understand.
Right.
Because that's a very serious thing. But basically, a lot of times it's two things. It's one, you've overloaded your bandwidth, and two, you've never quite understood your purpose or your goals or your missions. And it's impossible to do so when you're completely overloaded, bombarded with notifications, playing with the balance of self-hate and vanity which social media pulls out in you. So you're trying to get love that you never got because you got that childhood trauma. You're trying to get attention from people. You're trying to get your opinion voiced, but then you're also going to school, working, or just even playing video games, or trying to read books, or trying to do things. And it's just too much. You get overwhelmed. You have responsibilities, you have family engagements, you have friends to keep tabs on, and you quickly lose your bearings. You're just like, Jesus Christ, what's the point?
Right.
And that's essentially what I mean when I say it's very easy to take on more, to please people, and to override your bandwidth. And we all know if your computer is full, it will crash. It's the same thing with your brain. If your brain is overloaded, it will crash. And a crash is never pleasant.
Right. Man. So,
have a good day, y'all.
Yeah.
It's like, well, now we're done. You had your part, I had my part, we're good.
Dropping
Got something to say?
Dropping gems. He's like, yeah, y'all being too loud. But to piggyback off what Jose said, so again, going back to bandwidth, there's been a lot of times where I personally was trying to do too much, and certain times where you're doing too much, you can't really focus on one specific thing to do it well enough, or to do it as great as you could, you know? So if this was a big thing, use a workout analogy. So when I was initially working out, you know, I would go to the gym, and I saw this actually today. I would go to the gym and I would hit every muscle group. Calves, legs, back, arms, chest, you know, the whole line.
Full body, basically.
Full body. But then I talked to Jose, and he was like, hey, have certain days to do specific muscle groups, you know, and hit those on those specific days, and the next day, another muscle group, next day, you know, whatever. So you focus in and you isolate and, you know, kind of hone in on those specific things, get the form right, and really work those things instead of dedicating, I don't know, 5 minutes to one muscle group and then going to the next one. You're dedicating an hour plus to one specific muscle group, and that way you're really building it, you know? So with that, take that and then extrapolate it. That's one of the words that you normally use. So you extrapolate and whatnot, and take that and make that fit for knowing when to give a fuck and knowing when not to give a fuck, you know? There's certain things that, you know, when you're caring too much about everything that's going around you, try to focus in on whatever you're trying to do, whether it's getting bigger, getting better mental health, doing better at your job, doing better at your business, is going to either fail or is going to go a lot slower than what it could, because you're trying to, you know, what's the word? You're
make more than one thing work.
Right, exactly. Like, you know, and of course, there's going to be some times where you do have to multitask a little bit, but caring too much about certain things that drains you, drains your bandwidth. That way, if that happens, you can't do anything effectively. So if you realize, okay, this right here I can't do, or I'm not the best at, you know, it might be time for me to, you know, outsource, you know, hand that to somebody else, let them do it. Distribute what I'm working on to somebody else, let them have the chance to work on it, and then I can focus on what I need to focus on. So that way, your business or whatever you're trying to do is going more efficiently, and you're saving yourself the headaches if you were trying to do everything all at once by yourself and caring too much about certain things that are going around you. And me personally, on a day-to-day basis, social media, we talked about it before, that's a big thing that I feel like people give too much of a fuck about, you know? But in the grand scheme of things, if you're focusing more on that, you're missing out on your purpose. Your purpose isn't to be on social media scrolling through stuff on a day-to-day basis. That's not what your purpose is. But if you're doing that and you're focusing on that and you're giving a fuck about that more than your purpose is going to take a back seat, and then you're not going to be in the place that you want to be. And when you're not in the place that you want to be, you're not happy about yourself. You know what that transforms into? What Jose was just talking about, depression. So, focusing on what you need to focus on, giving a fuck about what you need to give a fuck about, streamline what you want to do, or how you need to go about doing stuff, and it does it more efficiently, helps your mental health, helps everything, and your life is now basically more so in your control. Because when you're giving a fuck about all these different things that may not matter, your life is being controlled by those things. So it's time to take control of your life again and give a fuck about what is important and not those things that aren't.
Right. Yeah, you invite too much chaos into your life.
For sure.
And every religion and every faith has an analogy to chaos and order. And one of the best ones, at least visually, is yin and yang. So you have chaos and order represented as black and white, and then there's also a dot of either or within the juxtaposing colors. And the point is there's a balance between chaos and order. And each one has an element of the other, but if there's any disbalance, then that perfect circle you have is out of control, and that's not a good thing. So that's kind of what you're alluding to in a sense. But, that immediately when I also started talking, I had to do some Googling and make sure that I wasn't speaking out of my ass. But this is actually perfectly into the philosophy of essentialism, which I believe we referred to in probably episode 2 or 3. But go read, Greg McKeown's book, Essentialism. One of the best books you'll read, guaranteed. Please go read it. It's a good read. If you can't read, then listen. Not like that. I mean, if you don't have the time to read, or you're not disciplined enough to sit down, or whatever, I'm not judging you, get the audio book. There's no reason why you can't listen to Audible, even while you're taking a shit, bro.
If you can't read, our podcast, you gotta do something else besides.
Listen, bro, hey, he said it, not me. But listen, man, let's get back on the topic. I don't want to be too Jose-esque.
No, that's what you do it.
So essentially, the concept of essentialism is the disciplined pursuit of less, not the undisciplined pursuit of more. And there's an interesting topic which Greg talks about in this book, which is, I didn't know this, but the etymology of the word priority. So we've accustomed ourselves to using the word priorities as in a few things that we focus on, but the word priority itself is singular, even in plural form. It actually doesn't have an etymology for plural form. That's something that came about, I think, around like the 1900s when they started putting like 9 to 5s in place. The Industrial Revolution, we'll say. And basically, priority means above all else, the first thing, the most important thing. So that kind of sheds light on what Austin's saying, that if you focus on, it's better to do one thing well than to do, actually, it's better to do one thing exceptionally well than to do many things well. In most cases, there are exceptions. There's nothing that is absolute, just so you all know. But, or you know, but we're emphasizing that. Now, fuck, where was I? Priority. There's only one such priority. Hang on, train of thought. See, now I'm waiting for the comment. The comment's going to come back on me. Yeah, Alice is. Fuck. What was I saying? I was talking about the single.
Yeah, it's better to do one thing exceptionally well.
Shit.
Well,
from that point forward.
While he figures that out,
I don't think it's coming back.
Damn.
See, listen. Bandwidth. Latency. We haven't talked about latency in a while. That's a perfect example, and I already said this, I already admitted to it, that I have a tendency to overload my bandwidth, and here you go, seeing the repercussions. Be better than me, kids. Be better than me.
Or adults.
Well, I'm saying kids. Kids is like, it's the word. It's an endearing term.
Is it?
Yeah.
If somebody...
Adults, my apology. I don't mean it as a derogatory. If you want to take it as a derogatory, go ahead. Come at me, bro. Let's talk.
That's again, knowing when not to give a fuck person. There are certain times where, you know, I used to get upset about a lot of things all the time. I used to be very similar to Jose.
So I'm the example of what not to be.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, be better than me. I want you to be better than me.
Because he...
Try to.
See, there you go. He gets upset at a lot of things or takes offense to a lot of things that I personally think shouldn't matter. Because personally, for your mental stability, if you let certain things piss you off, then those things, like I mentioned before, damn near take control of you. So where I view things nowadays is most of this stuff isn't worth my time. So if it's not worth my time, I'm not going to dedicate that energy and amount of passion towards that I used to. So, you know, people saying certain things or little things that used to make me upset, I'm like, okay, look, you know, what do I really care about? I care about growing my business. I care about making sure my family is, you know, protected, happy, living well, all that stuff. I care about my mental. Other than that, if it's not those things and the people that I have around me, my friends, my family, the relationships I build with people and whatnot, I don't care. I'm not going to give that amount of passion towards somebody or something that just wants my attention, wants my anger, or wants me to react a certain way for a second. So I very much care about knowing when not to give a fuck, because it saves my just well-being so much. Because I used to be pulled in every direction. I used to get upset about everything, and I used to walk around upset. Now I walk around like it's whatever. Of course, there's certain things that definitely, you know, piss me off. Like, I'm not saying that I'm just unscatable, like, but most of the times nowadays it's just like, okay, look, if it's not about these things, then it's whatever, because that's all I'm trying to devote my attention and focus and energy towards. So for y'all, I would say whatever it is that you're trying to focus in on, don't let outside things get in the way of that. Keep that level of focus, keep that level of giving a fuck about the right thing and not giving a fuck about the wrong things. And then, you know, you can really, really grow whatever it is that you're trying to grow. And dedicate all your passion and all your energy towards that. And that's the way that you get your thing to grow. You know, you gotta do the thing. But in order to do the thing, which is what we talked about in a previous podcast, in order to do the thing, you have to have the energy and passion and focus and the give a fuckness to do it and block out the other stuff. So I feel like for you get upset too. Oh my gosh, he gets upset.
I am a very
competitive
individual,
and I'm competitive too. But it's just like he internalizes it and like gets like actually like upset about it, and it's like okay.
I mean, I told y'all about the what were we talking about? Not pivoting. It was episodes 10 to 7. I gave an analogy about the past of a certain individual. What was that analogy, or what was the topic again?
I know the analogy. It was about No.
Death by indecision. So the example that I gave, it was a personal example from episode 8.
Right.
And I gave an example from 7 years ago. And I still think about it to this day. 7 years ago. What does that tell you of the level of we'll say, headiness. But again, like I said, that to me, a lot of moments in life, especially in the heat of the moment, seems like it's the worst possible thing. But
Very true.
when you look back at it, a lot of times it's a very formative moment that is a blessing. So when I look back at this instance in particular, I think of it as this is a big mistake that I made, and it was painfully pointed out to me and made painfully aware. And that pain is a great motivator, which is the reason why, and this is actually kind of how Austin and I have a different dynamic, which is quite frankly what makes a lot of the things work. Because as we talked about in the last episode of the AM Club podcast about being a lone wolf, is if you want to die and starve, then go ahead and be a lone wolf. But if you want to go far, not just fast, then go in a group. And basically, the dynamic that I would say is that Austin is a lot more. Austin has the ability to where he can be the cool guy, as in cool in temperament, and also in reality, because you know this guy's really cool. Unlike me, I'm just a fucking geek who works all day and lifts heavy shit.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And eats a good amount of food.
He eats a lot of food, yeah.
Listen, day to day is just putting out fires, making people smile, pleasing blank, and shaving my head.
Not this time. Next time, next episode, it's just gonna be shaved.
Sorry. Could have shaved, but I chose not to. But listen, the dynamic that Austin has, he has the ability to have that cool temperament. I, on the other hand, thrive in the heat. So in other words, if I'm not pissed off, if I'm not fucking, you don't even know. If I'm not pissed, I don't even know. Just rage, just bloodshot rage. Like I'll perform, but I cannot perform at my peak performance. It's like I almost need a massive situation. I need the stress. I need the ability to where I can't breathe, to where I'm about to literally break, because and it's true to some degree. Generally, that's when your brain is optimally functioning and it's being the most creative, because you're actively trying to adapt to the situation and find new solutions. So for me, that's always worked the best. So in reality, it's like David Goggins says, he invented the analogy of a cookie jar. But for him, it's success. So he'll pull out a success, like a triumph. And for me, it's like a failure. I'll pull out an instance where I fucked up. And that's enough to piss me off, where the time I got fucked over. But again, taking absolute ownership. The reason I got fucked over was because I put myself in a situation to get fucked. So I know that I'm a dumbass and I got fucked because of me. So this time I'm not going to get fucked. And you bet your sweet bippy I won't. So it's a perfect example of my passion. So in other words, it's like, at the end of the day, I'm responsible for all the bad shit that happened to me. If I got fucked, that's on me. If I did then I did that too.
You see your
I didn't say it.
energy.
Listen, I didn't say it.
See what I'm saying? This is why you gotta know not to give a fuck. Like, again,
I actually give a fuck. But I give a fuck about
knowing when not to give a fuck. I'm saying
right now it's justified.
Yes.
Actually, it doesn't.
He works on that type of fuel. Most people don't.
Yeah.
There's
not many of us left. There's not many of us left.
The greats though, like Kobe, Michael Jordan. They operate off that same thing. They need fuel to be pissed off to make them perform better.
It's like Warren Buffett.
But hey, I'll just
casual
sit back, investments, and eat my ice cream, and
build an absolute empire.
Right. But hey,
like a stud.
Both billionaires. But hey, all I'm saying is, unless you're him, which is probably not.
If you gotta know, congratulations, I'm proud. Welcome to the club with open arms.
But you should probably know when to care and when not to care about certain things. That'll probably help you out a lot, help your mental out a lot, and make your life just a lot easier. So that's it, really. Like I just think that if you want to live like happily and not stressed and worried all the time, and a good amount of stress is like this.
We're not talking about being a bitch.
Yeah.
We mean like being comfortably stressed. Well, I guess you and I also live with different levels of stress.
No, I'm stressed. It's just I choose not to like ruminate on it. A lot of people ruminate on their stress. Working out can help with that. Having people to talk to can help with that. Journaling can help with that.
Doing any monotonous task.
Doing something other than the shit that is stressing you out can help with that.
Well, but sometimes the stress is induced by your lack of progress. So it depends. Because again, if you procrastinate, you are a coward. What was that? Episode 5? 6? It was.
We need to get like a log of this shit.
We have a list with some pulled up,
so.
so.
But anyway.
It's really, it's dependent on circumstances.
Yeah.
Stress comes about for a lot of reasons. Stress and anxiety. Bandwidth is dropping, guys.
Oh yeah, it's bad. Last thoughts, just what I said before, bro. Just or girl. Know when to give a fuck and when not to give a fuck, and focus on the things that you should give a fuck about. And if you don't give a fuck about it, why are you focusing on it? Why are you stressed about it? I'm not gonna spend time trying to talk to you or listen to you. You're telling me about some shit that you say you don't care about. Because if you're talking about it, you couldn't even care about it. So
yeah, it's like, oh, I didn't get bothered, but let me tell you about it.
Exactly. So nobody's gonna want to listen to that shit either. So focus on the shit that matters. That's it. Signing off. Sorry, never. Wouldn't want to be you. See you later, crocodile. Well, in the wild crocodile. Fuck. See you later, alligator. Here we go. See
you know, wild crocodile.
Bandwidth is driving.
What y'all doing?